I'm Carrie Blazer, also known as Red Pill Shaman, and I'll get into that story in a second. This is my first video on a huge part of my soul's purpose, which is to help the fire department address the mental health challenges that they're experiencing and the astronomical rate of suicide that they're having, which is, from my understanding, about 3 times the rate of the line of duty deaths and about 6 times the rate of the national population. And those numbers are going up. And so I'm here to offer a new perspective, a more spiritual perspective that I ground in science, because now we have science to prove that we have souls and our souls communicate. And I know, that helped me a lot when I did the research and found the science to back up what spirituality's been talking about for thousands of years. So my soul's purpose came about when I met a firefighter a couple of years ago, and then 2 weeks ago I channeled Firefighters, and they said they want to partner with a retired fire captain that I'm getting to know to address this crisis. So they've been sending me information. I didn't understand some of the information I was getting until now. I put all the pieces together because everything comes together, when it comes together. And so I have a lot of advice from them to get everyone started going in the right direction. And we're going to talk about our souls, how we create our own reality, how souls communicate, which is huge impacted to the firefighters. We're also going to talk about my process, appreciate, learn, and forgive, and how people can use that process that just gets rid of the victim mentality and holds each person accountable for their life, because our souls orchestrate our lives to give us opportunities to heal, learn, and grow in every moment. So when we blame someone else for our reality, we're looking in the wrong direction. If you don't like your life, file a grievance with your soul. And that is my perspective, and that's the perspective that I used after I named myself Red Pill Shaman. And so why did I name myself that? In the summer of 2022, I happened to be DMing Justin Waller. He is Andrew Tate's best friend. So after Andrew got canceled on social media, I reached out to Justin, and we started DMing daily. And Andrew, they had some codependency. So Justin had some of Andrew's pain in his heart, and I was cleaning up his heart, and cleaning up the emotional pain in his heart. So I had to address Andrew's pain, and Andrew's soul told me his, kind of most painful memory from childhood, a maternal wound. And I kept that secret for 1.5 years, and that opportunity taught me about paying it forward and how to express compassion. And I learned so much. I'm so grateful for that process and that opportunity. And there's no exchange of money. It was great. It's just I helped out. I was there. I helped out, and I'm so grateful because I learned so much from no money being involved at all. It's a priceless gift. Healing emotional pain is a priceless gift. So I'm proud that I had that opportunity. So I'm going to get into some more topics here in a minute, and I'll have different sections of the video, but I will be saving the most important point that the fallen firefighters want to make as last. And this is a really important point, and I hope you stay around to listen, because I'm their channel. I speak for them. What I say, I speak for them. It's not me, it's them. So, but reach out with any questions. I'm here for you, and I am solely dedicated to the firefighters at this point. I don't take any other clients. So we'll get on to our next topic in the next section of the video. Thanks. So what is a soul, and how does this work? Quantum physics has proven that we all have energy bodies, and all of our energy bodies communicate. Now that's the same thing as saying we all have souls, because our soul is just energy, it's love. And all of our souls communicate, because that's how they orchestrate our lives. Like when you like someone and you kind of run into them often, and that's your soul's like, oh, you guys are lining up, and that's why you run into them. And so our souls decide what we need to address the challenges we've chosen to take on in each lifetime. And I would say I resonate with firefighters because I also have what I call an ambitious soul. I have a master's degree in Chinese. I went to Mount Everest at 23. I have 3 kids. I'm highly accomplished in the career that I was just laid off of about 6 months ago. And I just got to, I have a need to accomplish. And so now I'm a shaman, and I'm helping the firefighters, and I was able to help Andrew Tate. I mean, just amazing. So looking at firefighters, people who have ambitious souls, a new soul will take on lessons of a new soul. Like, oh, my grandma died in front of me. That's the biggest lesson that lifetime. Maybe the next lifetime, oh, both my grandparents died in front of me. And you kind of slowly build lesson to lesson as you would kind of expand your consciousness. So for me, I have a lot of lifetimes. So the lessons that I need are more challenging. So my soul set me up for success by giving me a very traumatic childhood where I took on a lot of emotional pain and held on to it until about 8 years ago. I started addressing my emotional pain, but in holding on to it and repressing it, it made it more challenging for me to come out of it. But inside of our emotional pain are lessons about loving and valuing ourselves more. And I'll get into how we're going to do that later. So my soul decided to give me a traumatic childhood, and that turned on my psychic gifts early. And then, ever since, I've taken on a lot of ginormous lessons, which I needed all that wisdom to create my own kind of pathway for mental health, which I've done through my own healing work. And I'm not a therapist, but I have a different perspective, and my perspective is in the kind of my approach I take. And I told Justin this: I'm the no bullshit kind of healer. There are no victims here. We all create our own reality. And so firefighters, I imagine too, because running into burning buildings, saving lives, putting their lives at risk, that's ambitious. And you have to learn a lot of lessons. People are dying in front of you all the time. You're saving lives. People are dying. That's a lot of trauma and a lot of emotional pain to process. That's an advanced soul to take on that level of challenge, because they're like expanding their consciousness, expanding, and they need these more challenging lessons. So I have to imagine that a lot of firefighters, and the retired captain, confirm this, have challenging childhoods, and then they come into the fire department potentially not healed, looking for structure, looking for something to kind of contain them. And so then they hit the fire department, and the fire department's having mental health challenges, and that just kind of compounds the issue. So I resonate and understand firefighters really well because we both have ambitious souls. The next topic is epigenetics. What is epigenetics? Epigenetics explains how our thoughts control our genetics. So one example is, we think of food, our mouth salivates, whether food is present or not. And that just tells you how powerful your thoughts are and why mental health is so important. You have to start with mental health. If that's not in place, then all that anxiety and depression in your head, your hormones are out of balance, your body's tight because all those pain is stored in all your muscles and all your fascia, and it makes it really difficult to live life. When I had anxiety and depression, I had 4 to 7 migraines per week. How do I parent like that? When I hadn't healed from my sexual trauma from my childhood, I had a lot of lower back pain, because women store their pain where their value is, and that's in their hips. It's our reproductive organs, right? Men often store their pain in their shoulders because they provide and protect, right? So that's where their strength is. So you see men get, shoulder injuries and neck injuries, where women can, get a lot of hip problems. So epigenetics explains this whole process. So it's really important to understand hormones with mental health, okay? Men, on average, need about 20 times more testosterone than women. Women, on average, need about 20 times more estrogen than men. Well, what creates testosterone? In people, not men or women, in people. Well, left-brained activities, that's our masculine, our logic, our ambition, our competition, all of that. Our right brain activities, our creativity, our intuition, forgiveness, compassion, that's our feminine, right? So me, I used to be my masculine all the time because I was repressing my emotions and I was scared to be in my feminine. And I created too much testosterone. So my 40s were a disaster for me because I was almost menopausal. So one way to address your mental health challenges is to ensure that your hormones are balanced. And I'm going to bring this up now. Female firefighters have an extra challenge because they spend their working life predominantly in their masculine, producing all that testosterone. And especially getting their late 30s into 40s, when they're heading into menopause, they naturally have more testosterone than estrogen, can really make things escalate in terms of having physical and mental health challenges. And, I don't know how to get around the hormones, but I'm just bringing it up to have some awareness. So if you're having mental health challenges, make sure you get your hormones checked, because adding some testosterone for men can really help you detach from your emotions and then be able to be more logical. So when a man's having mental health challenges, he's too far in his feminine. He's way too connected to his emotions. And so when a man's way too connected to his emotions, then that's the addiction, and he can't make good decisions and rational decisions because it's an emotional decision, which we all know emotional decisions don't usually work out well. So for women who have too much testosterone, then they use testosterone to repress their emotions, and they get controlling because they're controlling their emotions, and they get jealous, and there's a lot of guilt and shame and ad hominem attacks, and all of the kind of negative parts of femininity can come out when a woman has too much testosterone. So I highly recommend any firefighter who's having mental health challenges, get your hormones checked and get some help in that department, because that'll really help you set you on the right track so you can address your challenges more quickly. Okay. So the next topic is how we create our own reality. So I have to talk about our hearts, and our hearts are a signal going out. That signal going out attracts what we need to heal, learn, and grow into our life. So me as an example, before I was healed, I was an overgiver. So I would attract overtakers into my life that gave me opportunities to heal, learn, and grow. Like my ex-husband was a lot like my dad. Now, I didn't understand that at the time, that he was a lot like my dad. Now I understand now. But the reason I attracted him into my life is because I hadn't healed from my wounds from my father. And so my soul naturally attracted a similar person into my life to give me another opportunity to heal those wounds. And so you see people say, oh, wow, I keep dating narcissists, keep dating narcissists. Okay, well, the reason you keep dating a narcissist is because you haven't healed from the trauma that is attracting a narcissist into your life. So if you think of our hearts as a cup of love, right? In a healthy person, you have a healthy cup of love. An unhealthy person, you have a lot of emotional pain in there. And so another way that emotional pain comes out is projection. So you'll see like a guy at Starbucks, right? Screaming about a blueberry muffin not being heated. Well, that guy came into Starbucks with pain in his heart. He's projecting that pain onto the barista and then holding her responsible for his emotional pain. And this happens all day long. I mean, only now that I had that spiritual experience can I truly not project my emotional pain, because I faced all my fears and released all my pain, and my hips are all better. So be careful about that. Be cognizant about that. And when your emotional pain's at the surface, like that guy in Starbucks, that's a prime opportunity to say, hey, I got emotional pain. I need to self-reflect. I need to dig into this. So it's really important that you understand how reality is created. No one's a victim here. Like I said before, if you don't like your life, file a grievance with your soul, not the person who you think abused you, because your heart, your soul attracted that into your life to learn lessons. Okay. Now that's not to say that, and when we learn our lessons, then you draw better boundaries. Like, if I'm walking down this dark alley looking all scared, I'm much more likely to get attacked than walking down the alley all confident, because now I'm confident. 10 years ago, I would have been scared. So 10 years ago, I would have attracted attack into my life, where now my confidence, I don't need that lesson anymore. I've learned that lesson and I'm past that lesson. So now my soul gives me new lessons. Like this opportunity is a huge lesson for me. How am I going to communicate to firefighters, and how am I going to make this happen? And how am I going to trust my intuition to get the videos out and to meet the fire captain, and all these things need to happen so this is possible. So my lessons now are about listening to my intuition, standing up for myself, being sure about what the firefighters on the other side are telling me so I can communicate accurately and be helpful to the fire department. But in other videos, we'll get into this more, but I just want to get you an introduction about how we all create our own reality. This is the first tip from the fallen firefighters. And I've done this too. Firefighters are human beings before they're firefighters. Now let's look at me as an example on my channel. I have Carrie Blazer, and then I have Red Pill Shaman. I used to just have Red Pill Shaman, as if that was all of me. No, Red Pill Shaman is part of me, but all of me is Carrie Blazer. And firefighters, part of them are firefighters, but all of them is a human being, right? So when we put our job before being a human being, then we lack self-care, because we prioritize a job and human is below. So if job is first, self-care doesn't come first. So when you don't put self-love or self-care first, then your cup of love gets neglected a lot. And I used to put my kids, I used to put everybody else before me, and I was having 4 to 7 migraines a week. So obviously that's not a balanced approach. So when you put yourself, the human, before the job, then you take care of the human, and then the human does that job part of the time. Not all the time, part of the time. And I use what I call a love hierarchy to kind of explain how this works. So first is self-love. Second is spouse love. Third is child love. Fourth is other people love. Now, in my childhood, and this is common with traumatic childhoods, I was taught that I'm the problem because I was getting punished all the time and told to be quiet all the time. My mom was an alcoholic and she didn't want to hear my intuition. And, it was uncomfortable for her, so I must be wrong. That kind of unbalanced dynamic, right? So in that situation, I was taught that I'm the problem. And so other people have to deal with me. So I need to be nice to other people first. So I put other people before me, and I kind of inverted the love hierarchy. But if you kind of revert it to the right way and put self-love first, then your cup of love has the best chance to be full of healthy love, and that's what you project outward. Now, recently, I was with a therapist, and she told me, I was with my daughters, that Andrew Tate doesn't deserve compassion and he doesn't deserve forgiveness. And the reason she thinks that way is because she doesn't have a healthy cup of love in her heart. And the reason I can project compassion and love onto these men is because I have a healthy cup of love. Compassion is taught in every religion, almost every religion. Christianity, Buddhism, forgiveness is necessary. Forgiveness balances your hormones. Compassion balances your hormones. Now, of course, you got to have healthy boundaries, right? But in no way am I going to let a therapist teach my daughters that people don't deserve compassion and forgiveness. So that's just unacceptable in my book. Okay, so it's really important to structure your life that you do self-care. And what are some self-care things you can do? Make sure you're exercising regularly, walk in nature regularly, walk barefoot in nature regularly. That really grounds you and releases toxins from your feet into the earth. It's extremely healthy to walk barefoot in nature. Since we started wearing rubber-soled shoes since like the 1960s, the rate of inflammation has skyrocketed. So this will really decrease your inflammation walking barefoot in nature. I really recommend it. The next tip the fallen firefighters would like to give you is to teach you how souls communicate. And when I told this to the retired fire captain, he instantly resonated. It's like, oh my gosh, no one knew, right? Because I watched a lot of videos about what is really traumatizing firefighters or what's causing a lot of mental health challenges. And when I saw some talk about this, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so simple. If I could just educate them about how souls communicate, then this could really help them with their challenges. So it's common for firefighters to see the face of their loved ones on dead people on trauma scenes. See their daughter on a dead little girl, or the wife's face on a dead woman. And that freaked me out if I didn't know what was going on. But I'll tell you right now, it's simple. All that means is pay attention to that person more. And why does the soul project their face onto a dead person on a trauma scene? Because firefighters will pay attention at a trauma scene. So if you see one of your loved one's faces on a trauma scene, all that means is pay more attention to that person, love on that person more. And the recommendation that they've given me is what we call a gratitude book. And you can start this with each family member. have a gratitude book, and every week spend 1 hour together, take a picture, put it in there, and write why you're grateful for each other. You can do it electronic, you can do it on paper, whatever works for you. And when you're having challenges, you can go back and look at how much you love each other and why you love each other, and have a place to appreciate the relationship. And I know firefighters are busy and overworked, underpaid, I get it. There's a simple solution to a really challenging problem. So that's the first thing. It's how souls communicate. Souls also communicate through synchronicities. And I'll share something about me and the fire captain, okay? I didn't know my soul did this, but after we met, the song Only You from Yaz, which is from the 80s, right? And not commonly heard, was something I was drawn to. And I kept playing it for me and playing it for his soul. And I would cry and I would heal, because when we came together, I still had more healing to do. I met him 4 months ago. So what happened was, the Super Bowl this year, that song was the background on the Poppy video. And I just, oh my gosh, but that just showed that that's how special he is to me. That my soul would put our song in the Super Bowl. So look for synchronicities. Look for, angel numbers, 111, 222, 333. It tells you you're on the right track. Keep going, So pay attention to synchronicities. If you like someone, you keep seeing them, probably want to pursue that relationship. So the technique I developed through my own healing work is what I call appreciate, learn, forgive. And you'll see it up top, equals ego death. So the process is appreciate your challenges in life, because that's how you become the best version of yourself. I mean, usually we don't grow when if it's easy and nice, we're just hanging out. If you guys face a fire that you've never seen before and you got to struggle and figure it out and challenge yourself, then you learn something, right? And so trauma is challenge, okay? And definitely take that opportunity to learn from those challenges. Like, here's an example. Why does someone die when you do the same thing and then someone else doesn't die? Our souls choose our day we were born and the day we die very carefully. Like my mom, she chose to pass away on my birthday. Now, a lot of people would think, well, that's a punishment. Like, no, that's a celebration of mother and daughter. Like, she was there when I was born, of course, and then she chose my birthday again. So we have 2 special days together because I was the most important person in her life. We were very close, and she passed away about 8 years ago, and that really catapulted my healing journey. So I'm really appreciative of that. So if you have a synchronicity like that, like, again, that's a synchronicity. So those are positive, not negative. Also, when you start with gratitude, you balance your hormones, which if you're more balanced hormonally, you're more likely to resolve the situation in a faster and more balanced way. Also, gratitude opens your heart, makes you feel safe. You love yourself. That's self-love. Gratitude is self-love. So the next step is to self-reflect, okay? Now, self-reflection can come in many forms, but I want to, give you a couple tips. Sequence of events is how I kind of got outside of the thinking of right and wrong, because right and wrong will just ego all day long, right and wrong. So here's a story that I use to kind of explain how to look at your life so you can analyze it like, okay, well, I did good here, did bad there, I can do better, as opposed to each individual event being right or wrong. Okay, so there's 2 teenagers, and one's dealing drugs, or they're both dealing drugs, and one shoots and kills the other one. Now, one goes to jail and one dies, families are destroyed, and you think, okay, that's just wrong. That's bad, punish that, right? I'm not saying not to, okay? However, what nobody knows is that there's a 12-year-old boy hiding in a bush who's smart. And that 12-year-old boy learns how not to get killed by those 2 individuals, okay? Or not to get killed like those 2 individuals did. And that kid goes on to become a doctor and find a cure to cancer and save thousands of people. So, was that event wrong? That those 2 guys, the one killed the other, one went to jail? Or can we look at it as like a broader perspective, that those souls were communicating and orchestrating that child's life in such a manner that that kid went on to save? So you can look at fallen firefighters, and especially the ones that committed suicide and then are coming back. with the knowledge and the experience, because firefighters stick together. You guys stick together, right? To help the living firefighters stop the mental health crisis, stop the suicide rate, because they have an advanced perspective and now they can come back with wisdom and help. All the firefighters are working together on this one. The live ones and the ones that have crossed over. The heroes and the fallen heroes are all together to resolve the fire going on inside of the fire department. Okay. And the last one is forgive. Forgive. So looking at life as like a sequence of events, then you can kind of step back and analyze how you're doing. Am I going up? Am I going down? What do I need to change? That will get you out of impulsive decision making, help you self-reflect, help you kind of just go, okay, what's going on here? Right? And something that's come up a lot when my kids are healing, they had a traumatic childhood too, because I had mental illness, their dad had mental illness. And I keep hearing my daughter say, well, I'm doing well in spite of my childhood. And I'm like, oh, hang on a second there. That's not how we talk here. Because when you talk about, like, I could say, well, I'm really great, well, in spite of my childhood. Like, everybody else is bad, but I'm good. And that is ego. I'm an individual inside of a relationship, inside the family, and that is ego. And that'll kill you every time. So how I frame my past is, I'm here today because of what happened. Okay. I'm here today because I helped Andrew and Justin. I'm here today because I was sexually, emotionally, and financially abused as a child. And I needed affluent men who exercise their options with women to come into my life and help and have, unbalanced relationships where we healed, learned, and grew together. So I had opportunities to grow. I needed those men in my life so I could see myself. I could see where I was doing well and where I needed to improve. I used it a lot to self-reflect all these relationships that came through my life. There were, 3 different men at yoga, including 2 firefighters, and then Justin and Andrew. And I'm very grateful for them. If it's in spite of, I got no gratitude for that. You guys are bad, I'm good, I got gratitude for that. And then I'm out of balance hormonally, and I'm an individual inside of a family who the only one is good. How do you resolve family problems if one person is like, well, I'm better than everybody else, you all suck? Yeah, that doesn't work. So I frame my past that I'm here today because of what happened. I know the universe trusted me with Andrew Tate and helped him become more balanced. And then I had to be successful there before I had an opportunity to help the firefighters. I had to earn the firefighters. I want to help fire. No way. I had to earn the privilege of helping firefighters because it's a privilege. Helping the heroes heal is a privilege that I take very seriously, and I take my healing work very seriously. And my meticulous nature, which I know firefighters have, really comes out in my healing work. I'm taking it. I'm taking any shit. I'm like I said, no bullshit kind of healer. I talk it straight. I tell it how it is. I keep it real. I keep it grounded. No kind of woo-woo crap. Okay, so I really hope that this, because of, if you reframe your past, it's because of, and then you're grateful, like, okay, my dad, and then it helps you understand generational trauma. Like, my dad had trauma from his childhood. He hadn't healed, so they brought that and projected his problems onto me as a child, and I got punished for it. That whole projection problem, right? Happens my mom did it too. My intuition would have me say things to her, which of course were uncomfortable as an alcoholic, right? But then she projected her pain onto me that I must be wrong. But who was wrong in that scenario? It was her that was wrong, okay? So one thing, if you get yourself caught and you're yelling at someone, stop and ask yourself, whatever I'm saying to them, I'm really saying about myself. If I call someone stupid, you're stupid. Like, that comes out of me, I'm really calling myself stupid because it's in me. It had to be in me before it come out. I don't call people stupid anymore. I don't use negativity to people anymore. I'm kind and generous and happy because that's in my heart. So if I'm stupid is in my heart, I'm going to project that onto people. And until I eradicate that from my heart, I'll continue to project that. If I have anger about men, like I used to fear all men, I was anxiety in public and I was closed off. Well, sure, some men are scary, but all men? No, that was from my childhood trauma. That's mental illness. That's not real. That's not grounded in reality. Okay. And the last step is to forgive everyone involved, especially yourself. Now, generally, when you self-reflect and ask yourself questions like, why was it necessary? Like for me, why was it necessary for me to attempt suicide? And I learned a lot of lessons from that. But I ask myself all the time, why was it necessary for me to get a divorce? Why was it necessary for me to have a traumatic childhood? What can I learn from that? As opposed to judging it and calling it wrong, I'm open to that. So after I ask myself all of these self-reflective questions and I find how I can love and value myself more, I ensure that I completely forgive myself and release all of the emotional pain in my heart out, and I forgive everyone else involved. Because if I keep it in there, if I'm shameful about something or guilty, like let's say I was shameful about my sexual abuse. Well, that shame is in me, and that because it's in me, I will attract it to me. Okay, so it's really important to release shame and guilt and have a healthy cup of love so you're not attracting this stuff into your life constantly. The next piece of advice has to do with the difference between saying I need and I deserve. Okay, we'll start with I deserve. I deserve is you hear a lot of women saying, I want a man who's 6 feet tall, 6 figures, 6 inches. That's I deserve. That's in my logical brain, not my heart, not my soul. I think I'm this great, and so I deserve things outside of myself. Okay? So when we say, well, I deserve a new car, I deserve a promotion, I deserve, that's your logical thinking and your self-assessment, which could be right or wrong, and not connected to what you really need. Like, I didn't think I deserved affluent men who exercise their options coming through my life. I didn't think I deserved that, but I needed it. So it really doesn't matter what you think you deserve, but when you focus on what I need, like in my heart, I needed to heal my emotional pain, and my soul knew that, orchestrated my life as such. So I had opportunities to heal that pain. I didn't decide that these guys come through my life. It was quite uncomfortable, right? And I haven't been on a date in 5 years because we never got to the point to go on a date, so because there were so many challenges, and I'm monogamous. Like, I need monogamy so that I can do my healing work. It's painful when the man that I have feelings for is exercising his options, and that, that doesn't work for me. So I had to be, really clear with myself about that. So when I talk about what I need, then, okay, I need food, I need shelter, I need a mental health, I need exercise, I need this, that, and other, and it comes from your heart as opposed to your logical brain that you're projecting outside yourself based on your own self-assessment. So I just, play with that. Start just changing your vocabulary and seeing how that changes how you interact with others, right? Like, I could think all day long, well, I didn't deserve all those guys, and in spite of them coming into my life, like, I'm okay. That's not a healthy person. I'm not grateful for my life. I'm not grateful for what my soul has done for me, these opportunities to heal, learn, and grow. If I hadn't taken those opportunities, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I mean, I was a mess a few years ago. I was closed off. I had a hard time communicating. I was trying to find my intuition and my psychic gifts, and it was really, really hard. It's dissociating a lot. I can't do this work like that. And the only reason I'm here today and able to do this work is because I released all my fears a couple weeks ago, like I explained. And I'm a clear channel, and now the firefighters can tell me what I need to say to help everyone. So please do the work. Okay, relationship advice. This comes from me. Relationship advice, if you're having challenges in your relationship, your home life, the first thing is, for the male firefighters, try using your leadership skills that you have from the fire department at home. Okay, that's thing one. Now, women, that's a whole other scenario, because for women, female firefighters need to be healthy in their feminine, in their home life, to have a balanced dynamic. And that, I would say, is more challenging, because being a firefighter keeps you in your left brain, creating testosterone. And I don't have a solution for that yet, but I'm working on it. Okay. And the next, and so to improve your relationship, John Gray, who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. He has a lot of videos online, and get the book. I also like Tony Gaskins. He has a lot of online videos. And I also like Casey Zander for the male firefighters. If you're having challenges with your spouse and a lot of arguing and it's hard for her to follow your lead, he has a really great YouTube channel and program that's fast, and he's direct, and I think you guys would really get along with him. There's no pussyfooting around with him. He tell you, do this, do this, do this, and get your shit straight, okay? And that's why I like him for you guys. And this is the final tip. And this is a challenging message to deliver, because I think that it can go against some dynamics inside the fire department, but this needs to be said, because right now there seems to be 3 categories of heroes. There's heroes, there's fallen heroes, and then there's people that were heroes but then killed themselves by suicide. And why is there a 3rd category, and why do I know it? Because they're not recognized in memorials at all. And why is that a problem? And why is that 3rd category really driving suicides? Okay, so that's a shameful category, right? And a man or a woman, a firefighter, a hero who's having extreme mental illness and thinking about being suicidal for, whatever reason, but it's usually has to do with their job, they resonate and are attracted to the shameful category. So we're just like throwing them in there, nonstop, because we're not putting them in the fallen hero category. And the firefighters on the other side, they have to go in the fallen hero category. And it came out strong in my other video, and this is the most important point. You have to get rid of the shameful category because you're asking for it. You're sending them there on purpose. And I understand that no one understood this, but it's that important that that category be deleted ASAP. You're a live hero or you're a dead hero. So a live hero is hero. A dead hero is fallen hero. And there's no other fucking category. Okay? I speak for God here. Enough. It's hard for me to say those things, but it comes out like that because it's that important. You get rid of that category, and people who are thinking of suicide will know, okay, I'll be a fallen hero. Maybe committing suicide and fallen hero, that doesn't really line up, right? So that will help block suicides. People ask for help. Okay, if there's only 2 categories, I don't want to go on a memorial if I commit suicide. Line of duty death, yeah. But I can't go on a memorial if I'm going to commit suicide, so let me ask for help. Getting rid of that 3rd category is instrumental to resolving the mental health challenges in the fire department. I know that's a hard message, and I know I know it's hard, but it has to be said. And to make progress, it has to happen. Okay, this is my first video. Thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful. Please reach out with questions. I only help firefighters now. Take care. Bye.